My first impressions of the country was that it was incredibly complicated and complex, and that I would have to spend a lot of time observing my surroundings. When I first started out there, there's no refrigeration, no electricity, for instance, so people had to go to the market on a daily basis. If there's a firefight downtown, how are they going to get to the market? My experiences are unique because I spent a long period of time living in the region. I didn't come in for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then come back to New York. In particular, the seminal change that really resonates with me and throughout the profession was the digital world coming upon us after 9/11. We were no longer able to use film on a regular basis. We had to be able to transmit pictures instantly. Working for a weekly magazine, I had to file daily, all of a sudden, with the web and the internet. It wasn't just once a week that we would ship film back to New York or to Hong Kong. It became a daily operation, not only taking the picture, but editing it on a regular basis. And I watched the whole nearly 1.5 billion people evolve through the 90s and the next century. And those changes were physical. They were also intellectual and cultural changes, and particularly political changes that happened right in front of me. We could almost see the front page of the newspaper forming in front of us on a daily basis. The main political changes that I witnessed were the end of the Cold War, and certainly how it played out with the Soviet Union and the United States and Western Europe countries, landing on a new platform, on a new plateau of political dialogue. That while that dialogue evolved, the ground realities remained dangerous and violent. The jihadis that were brought into the region to fight and push the Soviet army out of Afghanistan remained. And in 1989, I knew that while the Soviet army had withdrawn, the fighters that had come into the region were not going to go back, and that they were going to stay. That was a particularly cogent moment for me, that it affected the entire region. And I think for the various communities who are here, the past remains very important and integral to their daily lives. And this exhibit will give them a reminder that we're still concerned with the past, and that this is a good form of documentation that they can learn from again. Personally, I was also beginning to forget about the past. Earlier periods for me were still in a filing cabinet as film. Once digitization of the medium became a priority, I needed to go back and remember and sort out the past by looking at pictures, by looking at hard copies of the printed version rather than anything that was online. And I realized that with the slow exit of the United States, that this story would go into a period of less movement, less interest, less commitment from the various news organizations. That this was the right moment for me to pause and collect it all. It took close to 18 months to get everything organized to where I could deliver it to a publisher and we could put it together in the form of a book.